Do you ever wonder if you're really adding value to your clients, to your family, to your friends? Well, maybe the problem is how you're actually defining value. Hello, I'm Eric Wright, along with my business partner, Jeff Pearsall. And we're here at TREP Talks, where we unpack and try to answer some of the questions that entrepreneurs are actually asking. And we're looking at one that's really important today, which is the whole value crisis. Now, Jeff, I think most people know what net worth means, but people don't always know what net value means. So why don't you unpack that for us?
Yeah, Eric, and it's a really interesting way to look at value, because net worth is really all about, here's all my assets and here's all my liabilities, and I'm going to subtract and I'm going to come out with what my net worth is today. Net value is far more important, and net value will lead to net worth. And net value is just basically the sum total of the benefit of all the people that you have met.
Oh, wow.
And it really does kind of lead us to a point where we go, everybody believes and will raise their hand in a crowd, hey, I can learn from everybody I meet. And everybody's like, yes, yes, yes. Well, then it begs the question, what are they learning from you when they meet you?
Yes.
And that's the sum total of net value.
Right.
What are they learning and what are they benefiting when people meet you?
Got you. Well, Jeff, I have to ask you, we've got this contraption here, this scale sitting right in front of us. And why did you want to introduce this scale to this conversation?
Well, I think it's very appropriate to try to understand value. And it really is an old story I learned a long time ago. There was an old farmer that used to come into the merchant store. It was just a one-store place, and he would buy and trade some butter for salt and other different things that he needed.
Right.
And this had gone on for years and years. And then one day, the old farmer came in, and the merchant stopped him, and he said, "Sir, I am no longer going to be able to accept your butter. You know, for years and years, I've always accepted and trusted what you've brought in as butter being a pound.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so therefore, I put your butter the other day on a scale, and it came out short of a pound."
Uh-oh.
And the old farmer, very dejectedly looks at the merchant and says, "Sir, as you know, I'm a man of very little means. I built a scale by using a pound of your salt, and then I would create my pound of butter when it equaled your pound of salt. And all of a sudden, what do you have? You have the true essence of value."
Right.
How did that merchant make the farmer better?
Right.
And at the end of the day, if we will just simply look at value and take away the definition of money and use, how did we make you better? How did I make you better in this particular situation? That is the crux of value.
That's great, Jeff. And the illustration is just perfect. It's amazing how when you raise your game, everybody else's game comes up ethically. Right. When you lower your game ethically, everybody else is having to respond to that.
And it also proves it will always come back to bite you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to hide it.
That's right. That's right. Now, when we look at this whole subject of value, Jeff, what are the key elements there? What are the key components of value and how we contribute to another person and add value to them?
So I like to call it the 3 filters, Eric, and it really starts with leadership. And leadership in terms of value has to do with showing the way or guiding. So in my relationship with someone, I'm providing leadership when I'm actually helping them by seeing the way.
Okay.
The second filter has to do with relationship. And that's where I'm creating and providing a sense of confidence because I do what I say I'm going to do.
Gotcha.
So now I'm creating in this value relationship something that's very positive. And then the third thing is creativity. And creativity is where I'm providing a service to you that either you're unwilling to do yourself or you can't do. So when you think about value and how you make them better, think about clients, think about your spousal relationships, any relationship that's out there. It's leadership, it's relationship, and it's creativity. Use those three filters.
Boy, brilliant points, Jeff. And I think about our relationship, how nearly every day we apply those things. There's
Yes.
things that you do that I don't do well, and I rely on you to do those, so you give me value, and vice versa. That's brilliant.
I get a lot more out of that than you do.
I don't know about that, man. But, Jeff, I've seen you practice these kind of principles in your business relationships for years. I've watched. And I think of one particular company that was just about to fold. And you came in and you were able to drive that company to a successful exit. So in a practical way, describe how you added this leadership component, relationship component, creativity component to that company.
That's a really great question, Eric. And, I think success can be defined as that place in the road where opportunity intersects with preparation.
Right.
The problem is that most people lose sight of it because it comes disguised as hard work. And when I was placed into this situation about 2 years ago, it was a situation where the two owners were in a massive argument and they were shutting the business down that day.
Oh, wow.
And the gentleman who was trying to shut the business down didn't have the power or authority, and the other gentleman had all the money. So it created this situation where you had major conflict. Because I'd gone through a conflict with a partner before, I was prepared to step into that situation. Right. And so we eased that conflict first. And so then I started to actually work with them on what would the plan be going forward and how would we make this happen so it was successful for both of them. Mm-hmm. And then every step of the way, I always did what I said I was going to do for them. So a great sense of trust, great sense of confidence was built. And then on the creativity, there was a whole set of things when it related to beginning to contact outside companies interested in buying that company. They couldn't do for themselves, nor could they do the financial side, nor could they do the marketing side. So we could build sales, get the company strengthened, get it positioned, and inside of 8 months, we had a great exit.
It's amazing, Jeff, when I think back on that you were really not a subject matter expert in what that company actually did.
No.
But you were able to come in, bring value to that company, and drive it to a successful exit that was very profitable for them, very profitable for us. That was an excellent illustration. You were going to add something.
It's to the point of where you say subject matter expert. And people need to understand you don't have to be the subject matter expert in order to execute value. What you have to know is what you don't know.
Right.
And so in that particular situation, I recruited, our real good friend, attorney. Mm-hmm. I recruited my CPA. Right. And the next thing you knew, we had a team. And then that team could answer all of those questions. And that's how we guided them through a successful journey. And that's what it takes, more so than being a subject matter expert, because there's no way to know everything.
And there are plenty of subject matter experts.
There's plenty of them.
But there are not too many people who can do what you did, come in and drive them to an exit that everybody profited from. That's just excellent, Jeff. What can freedom-driven entrepreneurs do to identify how, when, where they can add value?
Yeah, I think the first thing you've got to do is you've got to be willing to actually open up and be critical of yourself. And typically, entrepreneurs are very good about that. And this would apply to anyone. And I would start looking at my personal relationships first. Divorce occurs because no longer do we add value to each other. Mm-hmm. And when we stop adding value, and remember the definition is, I'm making you better. As long as Judy keeps making me better and I keep making her better, then we've got a successful journey. And we work real hard at that. And it is hard work. And then you got to look at your employees. What are you doing to make them better on a daily basis? Yeah. Then you got to look at your clients and you got to look at your vendors. Now, this is one where people go, well, the vendor's supposed to make me better. They're supposed to give me a better price. It's not about price. There's a whole set of other things that come with this. And you got to really do that internal self-search to look at that and start determining it. And if you'll do the exercise to write these down, to do the interlook, then you can start looking and recognizing how you're actually adding value to equations instead of just discounting the price of your product.
Absolutely. You know, it's almost like, Jeff, this is an exercise that you need to do before you go into every single, client call. And then it's something that you can do after you leave.
Yeah, it really is.
Where you reevaluate, you do an inventory, and you measure, gee, how much value did I actually add? These and other principles are broken down and discussed in a book that Jeff and I wrote called Dogs Don't Bark at Parked Cars. This is available at Amazon.com. It's available at your bookstore. I encourage you to pick one up and work through it. And Jeff, thanks so much for clarifying that. I think each and every one of us knows that we have the opportunity. We've really got the power to add value to everyone we come in contact with every day. And this, you talk about daily goals, this is a great daily goal that each and every one of us can apply. Also, you can go to our website, TREPBiz.com. There you can get videos like this. You can get articles that Jeff and I have written so that you have help and assistance on your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And please tune into future episodes of TREP Talks.